Oh, I'm curious to hear your opinion, SG. Did you see all the stuff that's been going on with Legend walking away from the game and all that? Too much drama. Wrong way to go about it. CA should be criticized, but not in that format. Well, after watching his video, I can definitely understand where the dude's coming from. It does seem like he's gone through a lot over the years that he's kind of covered the game and made content and stuff. But at the same time, it did kind of get to a point where I'm like, all right, dude, it's not that serious. So it's kind of had a little bit of pros and cons to it, in my opinion. His venting was like when your crazy girlfriend goes off and crashes out on it. On a paragraph wall of text in response to your one-line comment. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, there was definitely some times where I'm like, dude, it's really not that serious. Like, I get it. It's like, dude, I came to watch some gameplay. You came here to make some gameplay. What's happening? But I mean, I will say he did have some points when it comes to, like, he's devoted a lot of his life to this game, and he just wants the best of it. And when he's saying for years and years and years in his videos, like, hey, this is broken, it needs to be fixed. This is broken, it needs to be fixed. This is broken, it needs to be fixed. And then, like, nothing's ever happening. I could understand the frustration after that. It's like the dude had over 500,000 subscribers of people that, like, love the game. And when him and, like, his entire audience is shouting from the rooftop, like, hey, please fix your game, and they're not fixing their game, I can understand why it eventually gets to a point where, you know, they're fed up. Like, for instance, with the Lizardmen and the Tomb Kings right now, like, both factions are broken. The AI does not work now, and apparently it's been like that for like 2 months. So, like, to be fair, that's unacceptable. Like, they came out with this update to try to, you know, update these factions that have been needing love for a long time. And in turn, what they did was broke the AI. That can be fixed by a mod. That is true. But it shouldn't be up to a mod's responsibility to fix that. At that point, you're saying, hey, the developers are so incompetent that they can't fix the game that they just broke. We have to rely on unpaid fans of the game to fix their game for them. And in my opinion, that's unacceptable. Like, you gotta do better. You gotta do better than that. Because it's coming from a place of, you know, this is gonna sound corny, but it is coming from a place of love, you know? A lot of the people that are voicing their complaints are people that love this game and have put hundreds, if not thousands of dollars into the game. And they just want it to be as good as it can be. And when they're begging, hey, please fix this game that we love. Please do what's right. You know, make us happy for all of the amounts of money that we've spent on your game. And it comes out where it's just months and months of the developers not communicating with their audience, not communicating with their fan base, and just letting them sit in a broken game. I mean, eventually it gets to a point where your entire audience is gonna leave. The thing is, they do fix their game though, but how long does it take? You report bugs, they fix them. Well, I personally found out about, like, the whole Tomb Kings and Lizardmen not working not too long ago. So I personally haven't reported anything. I don't know if the rest of the player base has or not. I've seen a bunch of them, you know, posting on the Total War, like, Discord page, and I think a Reddit page as well. I don't know if they've actually reported the bugs to CA themselves, but apparently it's been over 2 months of the Lizardmen and Tomb Kings AI not working. So yeah, they got an update so they're a better experience for the people playing as those factions, but over 2 months of 2 full factions not working. You know? some things are left unintended. If you report bugs, they fix them. I had contributions where I know it was solely my report that led to issues being fixed. If I didn't do that, maybe nothing ever happens with it. Well, that's fucking great then. That I support. And don't get me wrong, like, I love this game. I think it's a phenomenal game. I'm not the one that's, you know, going to go out and make a whole bunch of YouTube videos trashing the game, because I don't feel that strongly about it. I don't think that's, you know, the best way to go about it. But I'm a devil's advocate kind of person. I try to see an issue from both sides and try to see, it's like, okay, do we have points here? You know, I don't know how CA and Games Workshop have structured their development teams, because I know that they do separate into teams. Like, some work on 40K versus some work on Total War Warhammer 3. And then I've heard them, you know, working on like the medieval games. And I mean, there's a bunch of games in the franchise for sure. So I'd imagine they don't have all, you know, 1,000 or whatever, or how many employees they have, all working on just Warhammer 3. I get it. But if you're seeing on like the Steam page of your game, people constantly leaving negative reviews, maybe not constant, maybe it's something that's just kind of been an influx since Legend made his video. But if you see a gigantic part of your fan base leaving negative reviews, hopefully at that point that will force them to address the problems instead of just going radio silent. Because as someone that is in a professional career, communication is number one. If they were to, for instance, let's say, Wizardmen and Tomb Kings. This is just the most recent example. I obviously haven't played the game the entire lifespan, so I can't speak on other things that's happened before I ever experienced it. But I can speak on like the Wizardmen and Tomb Kings, because that's happened since I've been a player of the game. Let's say, hypothetically, they put out the update for the Tomb Kings and Wizardmen. People are very happy about it. Overall, I think it had a pretty positive review on some of the changes they made on the different factions. If you then see that something comes out where it's like, oh crap, now we're getting reports that the AI is now broken for these two factions, you know, two big factions in the game that have been around forever, you know, how hard is it to then just put out a PSA, you know, just send out a public service announcement saying, hey guys, we heard about some issues going on with these two factions after our latest patch. We're working on it. We'll get, you know, another patch out as soon as possible. We'll try to get it fixed. You know, please bear with us. That alone does wonders for an audience. Just to let them know, hey, we heard you. We're addressing it. We'll get it fixed at the earliest possible moment. We'll let you know when it's fixed. Then every single person that plays the game can take a sigh of relief and be like, okay, they heard us. They communicated with us. That's fine. I appreciate that. Thank you for letting us know. And then whenever it happens that they do go to fix that, and it's fixed, then they can, you know, again, reach out and say, hey, we heard you. We got it fixed. Enjoy our game. Thank you for your support. There's got to be some back and forth. There's got to be some communication between the developers and the people that play the game. There's got to be healthy communication on both sides. They did that, eventually. The eventually is the problem. Because when you let people sit there and fester, that's when things get bad. For instance, I was in the restaurant industry, and one of the biggest things that they pushed, I was in for years and years and years, I was in the restaurant industry. And one of the biggest things that every restaurant, I worked for numerous restaurants, they would always push is that, like, once people sit down, you need to greet that table as soon as possible. Because even if the people that have been sitting at that table have been there for only like 2 minutes, 2 minutes of not having an interaction with someone feels like 10 minutes. And then they start getting anxious. Then they start getting irritated. And then they start getting angry. Versus if you were to walk by and say, hey, thank you for stopping in. You know, my name's Chandler. I'll be happy to take care of you this evening. I'll be with you in just a moment. Let me just go take care of this real quick. I'll be right back. And then immediately, any sort of anger and frustration is immediately quelled. Like, okay, cool. He stopped by. He said, hey, he's busy. He'll be here in just a minute. That's fine. It's almost like it resets the timer. It resets the anger level. It was always like, literally, many restaurants I worked at, they're like, you have to greet a table within 60 seconds. Within a minute of them sitting down, you need to greet that table. That shows how quickly it can go from a positive experience to quickly turning into a negative experience just with there being no communication. So that's how I look at like issues like that. And I think a lot of things can be solved if there's just upfront communication in a somewhat rushed manner, pretty much. So that's what I gotta say about that. That's all I gotta say about that. Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get.